To care for the earth, a small fable about our time. You didn't imagine living in one of the two towers, but suddenly you are, and you can hardly remember when you didn't live there. The two towers rise high above a field, like giant silos that scrape the silver linings of the clouds. Sometimes it seems the two towers are all that is, or all that's important anyway. A magnetic force field exists between them, strong as the moon's pull on the tides, and it draws people every day to enter one tower or the other. Few can resist the towers, and the longer you are inside, whichever one it is, the harder it is to leave. Once you're in a tower, your attention is drawn to the other tower and what it's doing. You see its flaws and mistakes and ugliness. You see how it's everything your tower isn't. You dislike the other tower intensely, though it's rude to say hate, so you don't. Perhaps it's enough to shake your head in dismay or raise your fist at the craven stupidity of the other side. Luckily, there are lots of people in your tower, so you're never alone. But awake at night, when you are alone in the darkness, it seems that occasional angels fly in the windows and whisper to you. And you start to wonder about escaping and realize you'd pay a heavy price to leave, but also that it's a heavy price to stay, because the good, if good there be, must be outside because it's not here. And when you turn the dial on the radio, there's nothing you want to listen to. And the angel said there was gold out there, the good, somewhere beyond. This goes on for 17 years with no change at all. And one day, without having a clear reason, you say, screw it, and leave anyway. Early in the morning, you walk out on the field between the two towers, which you notice are like skyscraper silos. And the air feels filled with the hissing of those who were still inside. But you've had it with silos and walk on. It's not dangerous so much as lonely, and you know there'll be no pension. And at least right now, there isn't even one of the angels you might or might not have seen in the night when awake, or perhaps down in your dreams to comfort you. You walk on, and when the towers have shrunk behind you and become as small as doghouses, you enter a woods with a narrowing path. Narrow because it's increasingly your own path, and trudge on for many days in silence. Nights you sleep on the earth, which feels good. Even though it's hard, the earth, it reminds you of things you've forgotten. In the morning when you walk on, you wonder about the time in the tower and the things you thought about the other tower and how you felt about the people inside, which makes you feel you might have gotten carried away a little, or even a lot, and you allow yourself a smile. And you feel remorseful and start to question your mental state. And as you do, you notice others who are walking too, walking on their own narrow paths and crisscrossing with yours. And because you're out there in the middle of the woods, you find yourself talking about what you were noticing and what you used to feel in the tower. And the others do too. And it's easy to talk, and everyone is glad to have someone to really talk to. It's been so long out there. And it suddenly seems very strange that you were talking for a while before realizing that you were speaking to someone who left the other tower. And you say, oh my God, together, and laugh and start to say the dark things you thought about the people in the other tower. And you notice you've come to a clearing with one giant tree, large as the tower, and many others are there too in conversation. And you can tell by the sound of their voices and their gestures that this must be a safe place, a place where people leave their children to run around unattended. And wherever you go among them, they're having similar conversations to the one you were having. And you could speak up in every one if you needed to. And you say, wow. When you think of all the things you thought back in the towers, your thoughts were what everybody else was thinking too. And really, it's funny, but also sad that anyone's opinions could pretty much have been exchanged for anyone else's. You thought the towers were so different, but really, they were so the same. And now you have thoughts you never thought before, especially when you make a giant story together with the others that starts with the towers and everyone in it and goes on from there. And it's a sad and funny story. Part of it is of the people back in the towers that are still there. And it's painful to think of them, but more painful to not think of them. They're part of your own life anyway. So to deny would be to deny yourself. The story finds a rhythm with the many voices, and it's a rhythm you've never heard before. Sometimes someone from your tower is telling the story, and sometimes someone from the other tower, and sometimes it's you that keeps bringing things into the light of day. And you find you're hungry for all the shadows. And the people that hurt others and the ones who were hurt realize there's nothing to hide anymore. And the two are relieved of a burden and want to lie down together with their arms around each other because of what they'd thought or done. And it's been such a long time they were lonely for each other. And they could see they were part of each other and that there was no one who hadn't played both roles. And it was good to know that. And birds sang in the tree, innocent of all this, and so beautiful. And as they lay there, arms about each other, it occurred to some of the people that maybe they could learn to care for the earth. It occurred to some of the people that maybe they could learn to care for the earth.